New York City, the most famous city in the world. The iconic image of the city skyline is embedded in the mind of all who have heard the name. Images of the Empire State Building, Times Square, and Central Park seem as familiar as the landmarks of our own hometown. Broadway and Madison Square Garden are seen as the peak of their respective industries. To perform there is to have proven to the world that you've made it to the top. Some of the most recognised names in all of sports emanate from the Big Apple. Names such as the Yankees, the Knicks, and the Giants are known globally as some of the most well-known franchises on the planet. Although there is one team from the greatest city in the world whose name would barely raise an eyebrow, let alone provoke any opinion one way or the other. A team who, in 1975, brought one of the biggest stars in world sports in an attempt to bring the world's most popular game to the world's most popular city. Their name? The New York Cosmos. Their aim? To make soccer the #1 sport in all of America. It would prove to be, however, that the rise of the most glamorous team in world football would be met by an equally sharp and dramatic decline. This is the story of the New York Cosmos. The year is 1970. The Beatles have disbanded, the US have invaded Cambodia, and the Apollo 13 spacecraft has been forced to crash land into the Pacific Ocean. In December of that year, two brothers co-founded a soccer team. The Erdogan brothers were renowned executives at Atlantic Records, whose parent company Warner Communications, owned by media mogul Steve Ross, acquired the team in April 1972. The team's first recruit was the Englishman Clive Toye, a former sports writer who had moved to the United States in 1967 to become general manager of the short-lived Baltimore Bays. Toye wanted to convey the ambition of the team within the name itself. After a number of potential names being considered, it was put to the public vote to let the people of New York decide. In the end, it was two physical education teachers, Mayor Diller and Al Capelli, who came up with the name Cosmos, using the template of the Mets, short for Metropolitans, and the Knicks, short for Knickerbockers, from New York's other prominent sports teams. The team name was officially unveiled on February 4th, 1971. The New York Cosmos entered the North American Soccer League in 1970 and made their field debut in the league's fourth season in 1971. The first roster signing of the club was Gordon Bradley, an English professional who had moved to North America in 1963, having turned out for the likes of Carlisle United and Toronto Roma. He was made player-coach, a position he would hold until 1975. Bradley's team finished second in its division in its first year, playing at Yankee Stadium, home of the New York Yankees baseball team and the New York Giants football team. In 1972, the team moved to the Hofstra Stadium, where they won their first league title with a 2-1 victory over the St. Louis Stars. The Cosmos reached the playoffs once more in 1973, but were knocked out at the semi-final stage. Before the 1974 season, the Cosmos moved again, settling at Downing Stadium. In their first year at their new base, they finished bottom of their division. Their main man to this point was Bermudan forward Randy Horton. He was named Rookie of the Year in his debut season for the club, was named MVP in their 1972 title-winning season, and was the team's top scorer every year up until his departure in 1975, when he was traded to the Washington Diplomats. After their worst performance as an NASL franchise in 1974, it was decided that the team needed a big-name player. It is commonly believed that it was Clive Toye who suggested Pele, as he believed that Pele was the only one who could break soccer into the mainstream in America. Despite this, there are a number of stories in regards to who was responsible for making contact with the Brazilian legend, who had left Santos in 1974 and entered semi-retirement. According to Toye, in a conversation with Pele, he said, "If you go to Juventus or Real, all you could win is another championship. Whereas if you come to us, you could win a country." It was Norman Samnick, a lawyer at Warner Communications, who negotiated the contract with Pele. Steve Ross had apparently never heard of him before getting involved in soccer, but agreed to finance the transfer when Toye compared the Brazilian's popularity to that of the Pope. Pele joined the Cosmos on June 10, 1975, on a salary of $1.4 million per year, an enormous wage for an athlete at that time. A number of contracts, only one of which mentioned soccer, were set up for Pele to ensure that he paid the lowest amount of tax possible, including one as a recording artist with Warner subsidiary Atlantic Records. For comparison, the highest paid player in baseball was Hank Aaron, who made $200,000 a season. The news of Pele's decision to sign for the Cosmos did not go down well in his homeland. The Brazilian government demanded that, due to his status as a national treasure, Pele play another year for Brazil rather than go to America. It took the intervention of the US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger to convince the Brazilian government of the benefits of the deal. At a chaotic press conference at New York's 21 Club, the Cosmos unveiled Pele. His arrival turned the Cosmos from a motley crew of foreigners, semi-professionals and students into a huge commercial presence. The club's groundsman, on hearing that the Brazilian's debut for the Cosmos was to be broadcast on CBS, spray-painted the pitch green to disguise how little grass was on it. Pele made his much-anticipated debut on June 15, 1975 against the Dallas Tornado. The game was broadcast to 22 countries and covered by more than 300 journalists from all over the world, and drew the biggest crowd in the history of the Cosmos. The game finished in a 2-2 draw, with Pele assisting the first and scoring the second. Although the Cosmos finished third at season's end, it was still too low a placing to reach the postseason. Bradley was replaced for the 1976 season by another Englishman, Ken Furphy, who paired Pele up front with Italian international forward Giorgio Chinaglia, a new arrival from SS Lazio. He had been so popular at Lazio that when his move to New York was announced, supporters, quote, threatened to throw themselves beneath the wheels of the plane. By contrast to most of the overseas stars brought in by NASL teams, Chinaglia was signed in his prime. He played for the Cosmos for the rest of their history, scoring a record number of goals. Crowds rose with the arrival of these and other European and South American international players, resulting in a move back to Yankee Stadium for the 1976 season. With numerous foreign stars arriving at the Cosmos, the team's competitive performance improved, as New York reached the playoffs at the end of the season, but lost in the divisional championship match to the Tampa Bay Rowdies. The Cosmos relocated yet again before the 1977 season to the newly constructed Giant Stadium in New Jersey, and at the same time dropped the prefix New York and played simply as the Cosmos, without a geographical name. Bradley returned as coach for the 1977 season in place of the dismissed Furphy, but was removed after half of the season. South African-born former Italy international Eddie Firmani took his place. Pele's compatriot, former Brazil captain Carlos Alberto, was signed in 1977, at the same time as Franz Beckenbauer, who had captained the 1974 FIFA World Cup winning West Germany national team. On the field, New York won 3 out of 4 championships in 1977, 1978 and 1980. The playoff game against the Fort Lauderdale Strikers in 1977 drew a crowd of 77,691, a record for American club soccer. The team's average attendances, regularly over 40,000 during the late 1970s, were the biggest in the league. This helped the Cosmos to become regarded as the league's marquee club, both commercially and competitively. After the retirement of Pele in 1977, much of the progress that American soccer had made during his stay was lost. There was no star at the same level to replace him as the NASL's headline act. After enduring briefly during the 1970s, attendances dropped after 1980. The sport's popularity fell and the media lost interest. The deal with broadcaster ABC to broadcast NASL matches was also lost in 1980, and the 1981 NASL Championship game was shown only on tape delay. All of the franchises quickly became unprofitable, and a salary cap enforced before the 1984 season only delayed the inevitable. The league folded at the end of 1984, following the loss of most of its franchises. The Cosmos had financial problems of their own, on top of those affecting the league in general. Much of the Cosmos' ability to attract the well-known overseas players it had acquired was due to the financial resources of parent company Warner Communications. In the early 1980s, Warner was the target of a hostile takeover bid by Australian media magnate Rupert Murdoch. Although this attempt did not succeed, Warner sold off several of its assets, among them Atari and Global Soccer Incorporated, the subsidiary that operated the Cosmos. Chinaglia himself bought Global Soccer and thus controlled the team. His group did not have the capital necessary to keep all of the players signed on expensive contracts by Warner, which resulted in many of the stars being sold. The club won its last title in 1982, and by the last season of the NASL in 1984, had missed the playoffs for the first time since 1975. The precipitous decline of the Cosmos after the 1983 season was the proof for fans and pundits alike of the grave condition of the entire league. Following the collapse of the NASL, the team competed in the major indoor soccer league during the 1984-85 season, but withdrew after 33 games due to low attendance. Although the organisation did not field a team following that season, except for an aborted independent schedule in 1985, the Cosmos' youth soccer camps, which the team had started in 1977, remained in operation. The camps were run by former Cosmos general manager G. Pepe Pinton, who retained ownership of the Cosmos name, logo and records. Since the original New York Cosmos club stopped competing in 1985, there has been frequent attempts to revive it. With the rise of Major League Soccer, various New York area entities, including past and present owners of the New York Red Bulls, lobbied Pinton for the acquisition of the Cosmos name. Pinton refused to allow an MLS team to use it, believing that the league would not acknowledge the Cosmos' legacy. However, when the old NASL names such as the San Jose Earthquakes, Seattle Sounders, Portland Timbers and Vancouver Whitecaps were revived as MLS franchises, he reconsidered. He sold the Cosmos name and brand to English businessman Paul Kemsley in 2009, whose group, fronted by Pele and including many well-known soccer figures, announced a new team with the Cosmos' name in August 2010. The new Cosmos initially attempted to become an MLS expansion franchise, but in 2012 joined the new second-tier incarnation of the North American Soccer League, which began play in autumn of 2013. When Pele arrived at the Cosmos in 1975, American soccer was dying a slow, painful, and largely unnoticed death. The sport was not taken seriously by the bulk of the American media and was of little interest to the public. Matches were often played in front of almost empty stands, receiving modest press coverage at best. The signing of Pele by the Cosmos transformed soccer across the country almost immediately, lending credibility not only to the Cosmos, but also to the NASL and soccer in general. Soccer became seen as a viable alternative to the more traditional American sports such as basketball, baseball, and American football. The Cosmos in particular became an internationally famous club, the most glamorous team in world football.